In the depths of the Amazon, legends don't fade, they wait. For centuries, whispers of a tree whose petals can heal any wound and break the darkest curses have lured men into the jungle, never to return. Among those bound to this legend is a man who could easily pass for the Rock's long-lost brother. To tourists, he's just a riverboat skipper running exotic jungle cruises. Complete with staged attacks and fake dangers, he secretly pays the locals to perform. His loyal companion? Not a dog, not a cat, but a full-grown jaguar. But the real shock? He's over 400 years old, cursed by a betrayed tribal chief. Now he's racing to find a priceless artifact that could finally break the curse. It's not just about becoming mortal again. It's about proving to a beautiful woman in tight pants that he's more than just muscles.
Frank, that is not something I can do.
Adventurers have chased this dream of finding tears of the moon. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistador Aguirre sailed up the Amazon to find it and save his sick daughter. The local tribe showed him the way, but when the chief refused to give up the tree, Aguirre attacked. The dying chief cursed him and his men. They could never leave sight of the river. If they tried, the jungle itself would drag them back, wrapping them in snakes, roots, and stone. They could never leave. They could never die. Fast forward to the present. The legend still lives on. Siblings Lily and MacGregor have a plan. MacGregor, a clumsy gentleman, pitches an expedition to the high society elite only allow men. Armed with a map and Lily's determination, they aim to find the tree. But when the society refuses to give them the arrowhead, the key to the tree's location.
And you've made your request, Mr. Houghton, and the answer remains no.
Lily takes matters into her own hands. Dressed as a man, she infiltrates the society's halls. She slips past the sinister Prince Joachim, and in a bold move she snatches the arrowhead. A high-stakes chase erupts. Lily outsmarts Joachim's men and escapes, barely. Meanwhile, Joachim vows revenge, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. Now armed with the arrowhead, Lily and MacGregor prepare for a daring expedition into the jungle. Their goal isn't just treasure, it's to unlock the tree's power and change humanity's future. But the Amazon is merciless. Danger lurks around every corner. Meanwhile, we meet Frank, a charismatic trickster and riverboat skipper. He runs a beat-up but reliable boat and makes a living by entertaining clueless tourists with staged jungle dangers.
Hands in the boat. Everything that you see wants to kill you.
Fake crocodile attacks. Over-the-top warnings about harmless animals. Even a friendly local tribe that pretends to threaten visitors. Frank scams are creative and very profitable. When Lily and MacGregor arrive in the busy river town, they start looking for a trustworthy skipper. Lily heads straight to Nilo, the man who controls most of the boats. But at that moment, Nilo is confronting Frank over unpaid debts.
My money, Frank. Where is it?
Oh, you mean this money?
As punishment, Nilo takes the engine from Frank's boat. Desperate, Frank breaks into Nilo's office to get the key back. That's when Lily walks in, mistaking Frank for Nilo. She explains her need for a skilled skipper to lead her deep into the Amazon. She offers good money.
I have a lot of money.
And Frank pretends to be interested in the mission, just to get his engine key. With the key back in his hand, Frank agrees to take the job. They meet again at a restaurant to discuss details.
I take you there myself. I am my best captain.
But MacGregor shows up, this time with the real Nilo. The lie is exposed. Lily is furious. A jaguar bursts into the restaurant. Nilo dives behind the bar and hides, shaking. Frank leaps into action with quick thinking. Grabs a steak and lures the big cat away. Quick, calm, clever. Lily, impressed despite everything, hires him on the spot, recognizing his resourcefulness and ability to handle danger.
10 minutes.
The next morning, Frank meets Lily and MacGregor at the dock. His old, worn boat is ready for the trip, but their departure is anything but smooth. Joachim's men, still searching for the arrowhead, ambush Lily and capture her. Frank and MacGregor escape on the boat, but Lily proves she's no helpless victim. Using her quick thinking and agility, she tricks her captors and makes a daring escape. After a fast-paced chase through the busy port, she reunites with Frank and MacGregor. Their relief is short-lived. Joachim arrives in a submarine and opens fire on Frank's boat, forcing them to dodge and weave to avoid getting hit. When his gunfire fails, he launches a torpedo. But Frank reacts quickly. He maneuvers the boat so the torpedo gets caught in a rope and sent back toward the submarine. The explosion smashes the sub into the dock, destroying Nilo's entire fleet of boats. Joachim's true motive is revealed. He wants to use the Tears of the Moon to help Germany win World War I. As they move deeper into the Amazon, the journey becomes more difficult. MacGregor struggles with the heat, and his polished city manners start to disappear. Lily, however, enjoys the adventure. She films the animals and scenery with her handheld camera. Her curiosity even turns to Frank, and he allows her to film him too. Amused, he takes the camera and tries it himself, showing a gentler side. That night, while MacGregor rests, Lily and Frank have a quiet talk on the deck. Moonlight shimmers on the water as they share their goals and dreams. The calm moment ends when Proxima, the jaguar, climbs onto the boat. To everyone's surprise, Frank treats her like a trained pet.
Heel it, Proxima. Proxima, heel.
Lily's surprise quickly turns to anger. She accuses Frank of betraying her trust. Feeling embarrassed and manipulated, she walks away, the fragile bond between them broken. Furious that Frank has tricked her yet again. Meanwhile, Joachim looks for a new ally. He travels deep into the jungle and finds the long-lost conquistador Aguirre, lying dead near the riverbank. Joachim pours magical river water over Aguirre's body, bringing the ancient warrior back to life. As Aguirre wakes, snakes crawl from his body, a sign of his curse. Joachim offers him a dangerous deal. If Aguirre helps him find the Tears of the Moon, he will free him from the curse. Wanting the treasure he has been chasing for hundreds of years, Aguirre agrees. He and his men then set out with fierce determination. The following day, Frank's boat gets close to a dangerous part of the river filled with powerful rapids. The loud, rushing water is a warning of the danger ahead. Lily looks scared, but she insists they keep going, believing the faster route is worth the risk. Frank hesitates, but finally agrees, trusting his years of experience to guide them through. The boat rocks and jerks as it moves through the wild waves. The crew holds on tight as each surge threatens to flip them over. At one terrifying moment, they face a steep drop. The boat dives down sharply before crashing into the calmer water below. Everyone feels shaken and sick afterward. Even Proxima, Frank's loyal pet, leans over the side of the boat and throws up just like the others. Later, they stop to gather wood. MacGregor starts talking to Frank about his past. He explains that when he told his family he was gay, they turned their backs on him. Everyone except Lily. She stood by him when no one else would. That's why he follows her everywhere, even deep into the Amazon. Meanwhile, Lily's curiosity gets the better of her. She sneaks into Frank's room and searches through his things. Among the small items, she finds old maps and papers telling the story of the Tears of the Moon. She goes to Frank, suspicious, and accuses him of keeping a secret, that he wants the tree's magic for himself.
What lies?
That you're after it yourself!
I am not after it. Not anymore.
Frank admits this was true in the past. He explains that greed and ambition were the reasons he first came to the Amazon, but says he gave up that goal long ago. Now he claims he only wants to help Lily and MacGregor. Before they can talk more, Frank's hired tribe puts on a fake attack against Lily and MacGregor, part of one of Frank's tricks. With painted spears and loud war cries, the warriors surround them. Frank acts as translator to keep the act going. But Lily's sharp words and strong attitude make the situation awkward, and the tribe is forced to stop pretending. Lily then asks the tribe's chief to translate the markings on the arrowhead. The chief explains a riddle: the seeker of the Tears of the Moon must turn water into stone and mend a broken heart. She says the tree will only bloom during the rare crying moon, which will happen in 2 days. She also says to follow the sign of a serpent biting its own tail, a clue Lily remembers seeing on her map. By the new information, Lily works out the next steps of their journey. Believing she no longer needs Frank, she pays him the rest of his money.
So there is no more we, actually. In fact, here's the rest of your 12,000. Oh, and here's a tip for such wonderful service.
And decides to leave with MacGregor on her own. Frank looks upset, but lets Lily leave without stopping her. That night, the village is suddenly attacked by Aguirre and his cursed soldiers. The air is filled with shouting and the sound of weapons clashing. The cursed men are desperate to find the arrowhead and rush through the village. Everyone is forced to fight to stay alive. Aguirre's men surround Lily, and she fights hard, but they are too strong and take the arrowhead from her. Before they can get away, Frank runs in and fights several of them to protect Lily and MacGregor. He manages to grab the arrowhead back and throws it to Lily. But then Aguirre stabs Frank, and Frank falls from the treetops. The village chief tells Lily and MacGregor to run past the river because the cursed men cannot follow them there. As they escape, Aguirre's cursed snakes shoot out and wrap around Lily. Just when it looks like she will be caught, the jungle comes alive. Vines and roots grab Aguirre and his men and pull them back to the river, trapping them with the curse again. Angry, Aguirre sends bees to tell Joachim where the arrowhead is. At sunrise, Lily is overjoyed to find Frank alive. But MacGregor points out the dagger still stuck in Frank's back.
The name's actually Francisco Lopez de Heredia, and I'm roughly 400 years old.
What?
Shocked, they ask how he can still be alive. Frank admits that he is also one of the cursed conquistadors. Before he can explain, Lily pulls the dagger out, and to her surprise, Frank is not hurt at all. MacGregor is so shocked he faints. Knowing the rest of the trip will be too dangerous for her brother, Lily decides to go on with Frank alone. She says a tearful goodbye to MacGregor, who stays in the village where he will be safe. Meanwhile, the bees Aguirre sent arrive at Joachim's submarine. The crew watches in surprise as the swarm buzzes around, delivering a strange message. Joachim, always clever, figures out the meaning. The bees are telling him where the arrowhead is. With this new information, his determination grows. He gathers his men and gets ready for the final part of the chase, while Frank and Lily continue their journey farther up the river. Frank begins to share the story of his long and tragic past. Over 400 years ago, he and Aguirre were close friends, united in their search for the tears of the moon. Aguirre's goal was personal. He wanted the tree's petals to save his dying daughter. Out of loyalty and hope, Frank joined him on the dangerous expedition, but greed and betrayal changed everything. Frank explains that he was Aguirre's cartographer, the one who drew the map of their journey. In fact, the very map Lily now carries was made by his own hand, back when he still believed in Aguirre's mission. His faith was shattered when Aguirre turned against the tribe that had saved their lives. When Aguirre tried to kill the chief's daughter to steal the arrowhead, Frank stepped in and helped her escape with it. Furious at Frank's betrayal, Aguirre tried to kill him, but before he could, the dying chief placed a curse on them all, binding them to the Amazon forever. The centuries that followed were brutal. Frank and Aguirre fought again and again, their hatred only growing. Eventually, Frank trapped Aguirre and his men in a hidden cave, a place where the jungle couldn't pull them back to the river. For 300 years, the jungle punished Aguirre and his followers, twisting their bodies into monstrous forms. Frank admits the guilt has stayed with him, but he knew it was the only way to stop them. Lily listens closely, her curiosity mixed with sympathy. She asks how Frank has lived through all those centuries. Frank tells her he built the small town where she first met him, trying to create a normal life while searching for the tears of the moon. Over time, he made many friends and lost them all. Compared to his curse, their lives were short. He built his boat, explored the river endlessly, and eventually gave up hope of ever finding the tree. Instead, he ran tourist cruises, using his gift for storytelling to survive. Along the way, he adopted stray big cats, naming them affectionately, his most loyal companion being Proxima. Meanwhile, Joachim continues his relentless pursuit. Using his submarine, he tracks down MacGregor and captures him easily. Joachim then blackmails him, demanding to know the location of the tears of the moon. MacGregor is terrified but refuses to answer, until Joachim threatens Lily's life. With no choice, MacGregor tells him the information, making sure to leave the conquistadors out of it so they stay unaware. Coldly, Joachim destroys the bees that Aguirre had sent as messengers, cutting off their connection to the cursed men. At the same time, Frank and Lily are getting closer to the same destination. Along the way, Lily asks Frank what he would do if he got a petal from the magical tree. His answer surprises her after centuries of wandering. He doesn't want more power or eternal life. He just wants rest and end to his never-ending existence.
What are you gonna do when you find the tree?
Lift the curse, and I choose to rest.
The weight of his words stays with them as they continue. The next day, their journey brings them to a strange spot in the river where the water seems to turn into stone, exactly as the arrowhead's inscription described. Eager to explore, Frank dives into the river and finds an ancient chamber hidden underwater. The entrance is too small for him, so Lily must face her fear of water. With gentle encouragement, Frank convinces her to dive in with him.
No, Frank, please! That is not something I can do. I cannot swim, Frank.
Inside, the tension rises as Lily struggles to pull a lever that might reveal their next clue. Her breath runs out and she panics. In a quick, daring move, Frank shares his air with her through a kiss, calming her enough to finish the task. The lever activates, draining the water from the chamber. As the water lowers, Frank fights off a swarm of piranhas while keeping an eye on Lily. When he sees her lying still, he fears the worst, until she suddenly wakes up and slaps him for leaving her underwater. Despite the slap, the dangerous moment brings them closer, building a mix of trust, tension, and respect. Once they dry off, they realize they've found the location of the Tears of the Moon. But before they can celebrate, Joachim arrives with MacGregor as his hostage. Even worse, one of Aguirre's bees has followed them, carrying news of the tree's location to the cursed conquistadors. Joachim takes the arrowhead from Lily and forces Frank to lead him to the tree using his steamboat. They reach the mystical site, but the tree looks dead, its bare branches reaching into the sky. Frustrated, Joachim orders his men to search. Lily notices something about the arrowhead. It's shaped like a heart. With Frank's help, she breaks it open, revealing a glowing, magical piece. They place it into the tree's core, and as the crying moon shines down, the tree bursts to life, its glowing petals lighting up the night. The awe lasts only seconds before Joachim orders his men to take the petals. The fragile alliance shatters, and a battle breaks out. Frank and MacGregor fight Joachim's men with the help of Proxima, while Lily races to grab a petal before the moon sets. She manages to take one, but Joachim corners her, holding MacGregor at gunpoint and demanding the petal in exchange for their lives. Before she can decide, the tree begins to collapse, its roots tearing from the ground. Lily drops the petal while dodging falling debris. Frank grabs it and makes a bold choice. He will draw Aguirre and his cursed men away. He tells Lily, "You would have been enough for me," and lures them onto his boat. Frank steers straight into an ancient monument, blocking the river's flow into the cave. Without the river to anchor them, Aguirre and his men are consumed by the jungle's curse, turning to stone. Frank's sacrifice saves Lily and MacGregor, but the cost is high. Without the river's protection, Frank also falls victim to the curse. His body hardens, turning to stone beside the conquistadors. From a distance, Lily and MacGregor watch in shock, their hearts breaking as they realize the full weight of his sacrifice. But Lily refuses to let Frank's story end in tragedy. Even though she's dreamed her whole life of using the tree's magic to help humanity, she decides instead to save him. She gently places the petal in his stone hand, praying its magic will work. At first, nothing happened. Crushed with disappointment, Lily and MacGregor start to leave, their grief heavy. Then, a familiar sound cuts through the silence. Proxima's joyful roar. They turn to see Frank alive again, standing among the ruins of the tree. Overcome with emotion, Lily runs to him, and they embrace tightly. No words are needed. The look in their eyes says it all, as if thanking them. The tree produces one last magical petal. This time, Lily carefully picks it and keeps it as a reminder of their incredible journey. With the petal safely in hand, the group heads back to town. They trade their small raft for a sturdier boat from Nilo, who seems more amused than annoyed by their persistence. In the final scene, Lily and Frank are back in London, riding through busy streets in a sleek car, looking happier and freer than ever. In the back seat, Proxima lounges contentedly, a living reminder of the wild, unforgettable adventure that brought them all together.